Hi folks, Stephen Kelly here. I got a review from the lads in Ireland called the IPA Brothers on Pints with Kelly, which is a documentary series I filmed. I filmed episode number 1 in New York with a man named Jim McGlynn, who is a retired New York Fire Department battalion chief. Jim and I know each other. Jim was actually a teacher in my high school. I know his younger brother was in my class as well. Jim was my swim coach. Anyway, I sat down in January of this year, went up to New York. I live in LA, went up to New York and interviewed Jim to talk about his calling as a fireman.
We're sitting here having a couple pints in Terrytown in Sleepy Hollow. What would you say to a young man or young woman who came up and sat right over there next to us and said, I want to join the fire department? What advice would you give?
I would say it's, without a doubt, the best job in the world. Not everybody has this opportunity.
Yeah.
It requires that you have to apply yourself and you have to learn your job. But the rewards, I remember a guy, one of my lieutenants said, the more you put into this job, the more you'll like it. Apply yourself, learn your job, be good at your job, and it's the most rewarding job you can ever have.
Even after hanging up the uniform, a firefighter's calling never really fades, but his impact lives on in the lives he's saved, and in the first responders he's mentored, and in the legacy he's left behind.
So these lads did a review of the episode, which is about 49 minutes long. So I want to read you what they just literally sent me via email on their review because they've seen it. There's a certain kind of magic that happens when a conversation is given space to breathe. No agenda, no script, just a couple of people, a couple of pints, and the willingness to go somewhere real. Pints with Kelly leans fully into that ethos, and the result is a pilot episode that is quietly profound, disarmingly honest, and deeply human. From the opening moments, the tone is intimate and inviting. Stephen Michael Kelly, actor, author, and filmmaker, our host, is an instantly likable presence, unassuming, genuinely curious, and more than willing to let silences land when they need to. There's a warmth to the setting and the cinematography that mirrors the tone of the conversation. Simple, sincere, and completely unforced. But the heart of the episode lies with its guest, Jim McGlynn. What begins as a relaxed chat soon unfolds into something far more affecting. McGlynn, a former FDNY firefighter, shares his experience as a first responder on September 11, 2001. It's not sensationalized. It doesn't need to be. The rawness in his voice, the pauses between his words, the way he sometimes glances off camera as if trying to find a language for something that can't be said, all of it is deeply moving. What makes this segment so powerful is the restraint of the edit. The filmmakers understand that the strength of Jim's story is in its simplicity. They allow him the time and space to tell without interruption, trusting the viewer to sit with the weight of what's being shared. It's in those quiet moments, the unspoken things, the emotion barely held at bay, that the show finds its emotional core. The conversation doesn't wallow in trauma. Instead, it gently traces the contours of grief, purpose, and resilience. Jim speaks of how the day changed him and how he spent the years since trying to make peace with it. His honesty is courageous, but never self-aggrandizing. There's a grace to the way he carries his story, and by extension, the stories of those who were lost in the great tragedy of 9/11. As a viewer, you feel honored just to be in the room. From a filmmaking standpoint, the show is tightly constructed yet unhurried. The visual style is clean and observational, minimalist but purposeful. Cuts are subtle, transitions seamless, and the pacing mirrors the rhythm of an actual pub conversation, winding, natural, and full of unexpected turns. There's also a quiet confidence of not needing to fill every moment with sound or movement. The editor trusts the material, and it pays off. Towards the end of the episode, as the second or third pint disappears off screen, there's a palpable sense that something real has been shared, not just between Kelly and McGlynn, but with the viewer as well. It's worth noting that while we come from a different country and a different generation than the creators of the show, none of that mattered. The story is so grounded in honesty and emotional truth, it cuts through every boundary. You don't need to be an American. You don't need to be a New Yorker. You just need to be human. Pints with Kelly is not flashy. It doesn't try to be viral. But it does something far more rare. It earns your attention and rewards it with something real. If this pilot is any indication of what's to come, we're looking at a series with the potential to touch people in ways that few shows do. I literally just read that live, and it is a humbling commentary on my film. I'm interested in people that have a calling and how they answer it. So Jim was a perfect guy to use for episode 1, since I knew him. He's a fantastic guy, but again, very humbling to hear this kind of review from guys from Ireland. Again, like they mentioned in the review, they're from a different generation. They're younger, but yet they're still touched by Pints with Kelly. So again, I'm looking to do this, to move forward, speak to people that have a calling and how they answer it. People that make a difference in other people's lives. I'm not going to be this braggadocious guy. We're going to sit, we're going to talk, we're going to see people in their element, in their environment, and how they live and how they touch each other's lives. And thank you so much, IPA brothers. I love you guys. Really appreciate you guys taking the time and the effort to write such a deeply caring, moving review. All right. Thanks. God bless. And Pints with Kelly, it's coming out, folks. Get ready. Thank you very much.
Some people work a job. Others follow a calling. It's not about money, status, or titles. It's about that thing inside you that won't let go. That internal voice pushing you to do something bigger, something that matters. That voice belongs to teachers, first responders, doctors, nurses, military. People who wake up every day driven by passion, purpose, and the need to make a difference. I'm Stephen Kelly, actor, writer, filmmaker, and published author. It's about the conversation, the journey. It's about having a calling and how to answer it. So raise a glass and let's get after it. Calling isn't about money or fame. It's about purpose. It's about waking up every day knowing you're going to do what you're meant to and making a difference. Today we meet a man that followed that calling into the heart of fire, chaos, and brotherhood, Jim McGlynn.